Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Consumer Trend 2019 by Cimigo. My name is Thuong, working at Cimigo at the moment, and today is my honor to share with you one of our lately study on online shopping boom in Vietnam. And before we start to know about our finding through this story, I just want to introduce to you some figure that really triggered us to do this one. So, the internet economy in Vietnam reaches $9 billion in 2018, comparing with over $3 billion in 2015. We can see that the internet economy is triple. As the biggest part of the internet economy, e-commerce also make a very exceptional growth, which is 26% in 2018 and more than double the growth rate of e-commerce sales. So what we have done is that we do a small study. We interview 300 respondents in the first quarter of 2019 in the two key cities of Vietnam, and this is about our sample. We try to understand the behavior and the attitude of consumers toward online shopping and online shopping platforms. So, before we started to share the finding of our story, could you please raise your hand up if you have shopped anything online during past 12 weeks? Wow. Yes. Highly than in our sample. We found out that in 10 people, there are 6 people have shopped an item online in past 12 weeks. And as you can see in my slide, it is higher in Hanoi than in Ho Chi Minh City, a little bit higher among males than female, and it peaks at the group from 25 to 34, which is understandable for me, because this group start to have more disposable income, and they also acquire with more sophisticated digital devices. So here is our 7 findings that I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to go through the first 3 ones, and my colleague Mrs. Thuong will share with you the last 4 ones. So I will go through it one by one, and without any further ado, here's the first one. I'm going to talk about the diverse product range. So, the early year of Vietnam e-commerce was dominated by food and beverage. And so far, until now, food and beverage are still a common item, with the penetration of 32%. And on average, food purchases is made 5 times a month. And for drink, it's a little bit higher than that, 6 times a month. And this represents a huge shift in Vietnam eating and dining habit, and it's considerable because food and beverage delivery companies just started to get traction into Vietnam market 5 years ago. So, start with food and beverage. Now, consumer in Vietnam is taking full advantage of the diverse item available to them. And I have another question here. Could you please guess which item is the most common item bought online? Just please shout out. Sorry, mobile phone. Sorry? What else? Fashion. Thank you. What else? Diapers. Interesting. And here is our finding. Fashion. So congratulations to you. Fashion is the most common item, a little bit higher than food and beverage. And we can see that now Vietnamese consumers have started to buy many things online, whether it is household and personal items such as fashion, food and beverage, or electronic accessories. Even now, people have shopped even ticketing. Maybe some of you bought our ticket online. Learning course, or even expensive items online, such as vehicle or kitchen and home appliance online. So, our comment here is that trust has been built. Vietnam e-commerce has now passed the novelty stage that consumer nervously click their mouse to place an order and hope their item arrives. Now, on the back of the familiarity and security of ordering food and beverage, Vietnamese consumers have more trust and confidence to buy many other things online, just add it to cart. Yes, the transaction growth is very impressive, but there has been a trade-off. And that's why we're going to talk about the price competition here. So the price competition is very fierce, and not many players can survive. And here is one example. Lately, last March, Robins.vm just announced to stop. The same situation for Vui Vui last November. What about the remainder? Very big guys, Lazada, Shopee, and Tiki. Impressive number, but they are lost. So the conclusion here is no one is winning in this market, in this competition, except for consumer. And this guy just summarized what I said. Beio.com, for those of you who might not know, this is a platform that is supported by WebChatter, a very huge platform in Vietnam. They're supported by WebChatter, and they sell products for babies and moms, but they have to end their dream. And their message is still alive. That competition burned a lot of money. So the battle is for big guys. So who are they and how they are performing? Here we represent to you three big ones. Again, Lazada, Shopee, and Tiki. And another guy, Facebook. We account Facebook here even though they are a social commerce other than an e-commerce site. But the figure is quite comparable. That's why we just show it here as the top 4 players. So a little bit for instruction, we have the outside blue circle here representing the awareness, meaning how many people really know this platform, and the inside green circle represent users in past 12 weeks, meaning how many people really buy something from this platform. So the picture is quite clear that these 2 players gain the saliency, but no one really stand out on top. They own quite about 80% of awareness. But when it comes to users, that is the guy that got my attention here, which is Shopee. This guy is the final one to join Vietnamese market, but now he get the highest usage rate. That's why I want to take a closer look at each of these guys. Start with Shopee, the interesting one. Shopee, as I said before, is the final guys, but I want to show him first because this guy proved one of my points before about the price competition. Let's join the market. Highest usage rate, what they offer cheap price and free cost delivery. And delivery cost is in fact accounted into price. So people can get products from their platform cheaper. That's why they win. And Shopee is performing better in Hanoi among females and among younger group. This doesn't mean that Shopee is not strong in Ho Chi Minh City. I just want to show you that some platform will be stronger in some segment. And the segment that Shopee really stand out is in Hanoi among female and the young age group. And Shopee gained high market share even though consumers complain that they do not like client service at Shopee. And the platform, they think that it's not really friendly, but still, they buy a lot of things from them. And the main item that Shopee sold is fashion and cosmetic. And when it comes to cosmetic, Shopee is the leading platform. What about Lazada? Lazada seems to play to the opposite side of Shopee when they are better among males and among older group. Lazada has the strength, according to the consumer, that they provide wide range of products, we all know that this platform sells a lot of product, but when we ask consumer, can you think of a platform that gives you many choice of product? And the answer is Lazada. And the main item sold on Lazada is heavily fashion and also electronic accessory. And maybe because of the available electronic accessory, they're better for males. And about Tiki, Tiki is a guy, again, for younger group. Their strength is about their delivery. Consumers think that they deliver fast and reliably. And the main item sold in Tiki is book and stationery. And if you want to look at a player that really capture a segment, and that would be Tiki, whose books and stationery shares is more than all the other in the markets combined. And the last one, Facebook. Facebook is a platform that performing better among female and ages from 35 to 55. The huge advantage of Facebook is that they are a social network, so they have a huge apps installment rate. However, people do not choose them as a first choice. It means that if they have a choice to shop that product anywhere else, they prefer to do so, not with Facebook. However, Facebook have a strength that they have friendly platform. People may feel comfortable to surf around. Maybe they want to shop or not, but they feel comfortable. And the main item that Facebook sells is fashion again. So yes, just to summarize, that the price competition is really there. But what else above the price competition? Platform may convince consumer by the range of products, like what Lazada is doing at the moment, by specialized product, like what Shopee is doing, maybe by the trust of product quality or delivery. And in the next year to come, we expect to see that the platform will compete on the experience of consumer. And one way to maximize the experience of consumer is through application. That's why we're going to talk about the app battle for screen real estate. So before I start the section, again, could you please raise your hand if you have Lazada application in your mobile phone, please. Thank you, about half of you. What about Shopee? Quite the same. What about Tiki? Yeah, for me it's quite the same. And please raise your hand if you don't really remember all the applications that you have on your mobile phone. More than that, thank you. So application now is a focus, it's undeniable. Because almost all leading platforms have application version. They also launch a lot of promotion to encourage people to download and use their their application. This one is another kind of games or a marketing campaign use application. So why competing on application is really matter at that moment? The idea is that having the application in the mobile phone at consumer is a way to keep reminding consumer about that. And also, it make consumer easily to access the platform with just only one touch, rather than have to go to the Google or something and try to find the name of the platform. And also with application, the relationship between seller and buyer can be improved with many personalized recommendation and personalized promotion. Also, according to one of our lately study, the penetration of smartphone in 2 key cities of Vietnam is now 84%. So competing on application again is vital. So as I just asked you before, here is our fighting. Yes, I account Facebook and Zalo here because they have a huge application installment rate. Of course, they are social networks. And Shopee, Lazada, quite the same. Tiki is a little bit lower than that. So yes, competing on application is very important. Another important thing is how long can the app stay? Or maybe the apps can stay at the consumer's mobile phone, but many of the consumer will ignore it or will totally forget about it, like many of you. They just turn off the notification and totally forget about it. So it's not about just have the application downloaded. The matter here is to make the application light, fast, with informative, with lots of personalized promotion, recommendation, but do not bothering consumer with too much kind of pushing measures. So I just share with you the overall picture of the e-commerce and how players really playing in that. And now I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Mrs. Thuong, to share with you what we found about consumer attitude and behavior. Hand to you.
Okay. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Nice to meet all of you here today. So I'll continue with the first part that my colleague Giang has shared with you about the online shoppings. So we will be moving on with the second sections to explore a little bit about the behaviors of the consumers. Okay. So as we all acknowledge that e-commerce or the online shopping is a new and very competitive market, and in which many different players, they have their own strength and weakness in the way approaching the consumers. So the questions I want to raise here is who are really performing well and who are able to winning the heart of the consumers. So let's start with that questions. So I want to ask you questions like, can you guess among all of the players in the online market now, who are better in providing the customer service? Oh, I see that most of the answers is Tiki. So to give you the exact information, we already asking the online shoppers out there, and now is the result. Okay. So in our study, we're asking how the online shoppers satisfy with their current online providers. We're using a matrix, very common, called Net Promoter Score, NPS, which is very common in any satisfaction survey all over the world. So simply, you can see on the right-hand side that it's a simply 10-point scale questions asking you how likely are you to recommend a brand to the others. And the recommendations can help the brand to get the positive feedback, the positive word of mouth from the consumers. And higher Net Promoter Score it means that the higher satisfaction your brand can get from the consumers. Okay, so back to my questions. We can see that the online shopping platform in Vietnam currently can get the Net Promoter Score is 19%. So you can see the total column here, and the NPS score across is 19. So Tiki, you are right, slightly better with 25%, but in the average is 19 for across the market. Okay, so with these questions, is it big? Is it enough? It means that this platform already satisfied with their customer. We have a reference information here, like if we comparing the Net Promoter Score of online shoppings in Vietnam with another countries. So let's say in the US. So how's there? Oh, sorry. And the result is here. The Net Promoter Score of the online shopping platform in the US currently is 45%. So you see two figures, 19 in Vietnam and 45 in developed countries like the US. Somewhat give you an idea that we still have a gap to improve in terms of the customer experience. And related to the experience of the consumers in online shopping, it's not just how to reroute them to your site. It's a long process of how to make them enjoy with the experience there, how to make them happy with the wide range of products you provide, how you can make them happy with all of the service you provide, and even the after-sale service as well. So in the next sections, I will go deeper about the behavior of the consumers so we can see and expect the changes in terms of the customer experience. Okay, so the next topics, let's discuss about the price and the habit of the consumers in terms of comparison. In our study, when we checking across the online transactions, we see that 74% of the transactions, the consumers say that they did compare the price before making any purchase. Amongst those 57%, they will compare across different sites. For example, if I want to buy products, for example, a dress like this, I will check the price from Lazada, from Shopee, and even from Facebook before I decide where to buy. 50%, they will compare the price between store A or store B in the same platform, for example, Lazada. And 32%, they will use directly the comparing site. Have you heard about the websourcing.com? Yeah, it's a comparison site. And if you want to find something, just visit the site, type the product you want, and they will show you a list of the site, the online site, with the products and the price. So you can choose which is the lowest, which is the best value for you. Okay, so in terms of the genders, we also recognize an interesting information about genders like male and female. So I want to have you guys have a guess that between male and female, who do you think they will consider more about the price and make the price comparison more? Wow, really? Okay, so the result somewhat surprised you. Curious? Yeah. Actually, male. So we recognize that male consumer seems to be making more concern online purchase. So somebody here may be arguing about that, but we make two assumptions here. So the first assumption is that male consumers may be more impulsive. So it means that it's the situation like if I'm a woman and I saw that product, I saw that dress, I like it, so I will buy it without thinking too much. It's true. You can ask many ladies here. Okay. So the second assumption may be when doing the online shoppings, we recognize that there's a little bit different in terms of the products, male or female, they did for online shoppings. For example, for female, we see that they buy more fashions or cosmetics, which are a little bit quite hard to compare the price or compare the values. While male customer, they buy some other stuff such as the electronic device, which is very easy to compare the price. With just one touch, one click, you can have the price of all the products you want. Okay, so it means that with that habit of the consumers, like they really prefer the price comparison. They really focus on the price. So what we can expect to see that the online platforms want to compete more aggressively in the way how to win the consumers, how to get them stay with their platform and not jumping around, not hopping around for the price. So we think it should be the combinations. It's just one factor can do that. It's the combinations. So the first one, it means that improving the customer service, the customer experience. The second one, the platform should ensure that they have a wide range of products, many choice for the consumers. And then the last one, back up with the strong search and comparison functionality. This comparison can help to increase the loyalty of the customer when they do the online shopping. So some of you may questions about the search and comparison functionality. So what is it and how it should be? So I have an example for you here. I'm guessing that some of you may already know this information, but some might not. So regarding to the traveling site, have you ever heard about Booking.com? Yes. And Booking.com is a very popular site regarding to the traveling. And they guarantee with their customer that they always monitor and compare the price with other vendors and guarantee to offer the lowest price for their customer. They will pay back the price gap if customer can find a cheaper price for the same service, of course, from any other vendors. So if I'm a customer of Booking.com, I will be more confident, I will be more happy to stay with them because I'm guaranteed by their service and the price as well. Okay, so it's about the next topics I want to share about the transaction value in terms of online shopping. Currently, we all know that e-commerce or online shopping is at the early stage of the success in Vietnam. So many platforms try to compete with each other on the numbers of users, the site visits, and the page views. However, we're pretty sure that the landscape of the market will change very rapidly, and what we can expect in just a couple of years is the explosion of the transaction value. Because after the volume, the next day we want to expect for the value. This is the result from our study again, and currently half of the transaction online, 46% is under 200,000 Vietnam dong, approximately just 13 USD, and 10% is above 2 million Vietnam dong, and approximately 87 USD. So again, I'm pretty sure that the market will be changing, and the big guys like Lazada or Tiki, they definitely will hope that the value of the transactions here will be increased very rapidly and very dramatically. Okay, so following what we have mentioned before, for online shopping, currently trust has been built. The consumer now start thinking buying something online, more confident, more comfortable to do something online. So the next stage we would expect for the online shopping is increasing the basket size of the retail by increasing the transaction value. Okay. And the 7 is the last trend we recognize when exploring about the online market in Vietnam is the shipping trends of payment. Okay, so for online payment, currently still cash-based. 88% of the transactions are made by cash on delivery. So this means that the COD methods help to reduce the risk of the shoppers. If I want to buy something, I order online, and when they ship the product to me, I can freely to check it, to see if they give me the correct one I want to buy. And if I don't like it, I just refuse to pay. So it's very open, it's very easy for me, and no risk for me at all when I do it online. So that's why currently cash is still the most common method for online shopping. And besides cash, we also seeing the trends of some modern electronic payment methods, such as bank card, bank transfer, or e-wallet. So in the next day, if the transaction value increasing, it means that the consumer pay more for many more value products. So these guys may be more common. And the modern payment methods currently now more are used among the younger groups, the young professional consumers, who are from 25 years old to 44 years old. Because this group, they are considered as the early adopters of this fintech. Okay, so in the conclusions, we have gone through 7 trends of the online shopping in Vietnam, but it's just the current situation, the current market. What we're pretty sure that in just a couple of years, the landscape of this market will change very rapidly and very significantly. So what we can expect from the online platforms here is now how they can improve the customer experience to support for the growth of the market in overall. And with the habits of price comparison, how this platform can come up with the solutions to help the respondent more trust, more fully controls about the price and more trust. They feel enjoy with their experience there, and they will not leave the page without making any purchase there. And the last thing is very important, like after the volume of cards owned of these guys of online shopping, we expect for the explosions of transaction value because it can help to increase the basket size. Okay, so 7 trends again. The first one, diverse product range. The second is the price competitions between many different players. The third one is the app battle, how the app of online shopping can stay in the mobile of the consumers, how to get the attraction, how to get them loyal with your brand. And the fourth one is the next battles, how to win the heart of the consumers, how to get them stay with you. The next one is how to satisfy them with the habit of price comparison, how to make them trust you, how to make them guarantee that they are having the best value, the best price, the best service from you. The next one is trust build, and the next expectations for the market will be the explosions of the value. The last one, payment method, COD, is still common. It's helped to enable the trust. It reduces the risk for the consumers. So currently we can predict that some other modern payment can be increased, but cash pay is still the main things for the online shopping. So whatever the way, we again guarantee, and we are quite pretty sure that this market will changing the landscape very rapidly and very different in just a couple of years. Okay, so I just gone through 7-point trends of the online shopping in Vietnam. So if you have any questions or any interesting thing, any experience of yourself to share, so you're welcome.
So any questions for Thuong or Giang?
Yeah, sir.
What about about the online platforms? Do they like to receive the money in cash, or I understand the consumer point, right? But are online platforms trying to push for online transfers and other methods?
Yes. Actually, as I have mentioned, that what we record is the current situations, and the online platform now are still cash-based because it reduces the risk for the shoppers. However, I understand that for any online platforms in the near future, they also want to improve the electronic sections because it will faster. It will help them more. But I think it will be more relevant for the higher value transactions. And as I mentioned before, what the next day we expect for the online shoppings will be the explosion of transaction value. So when the value increasing, so we also expect the changes, the increase of the modern payment methods.
They'd much rather not have the hassle of the logistics of drivers picking up money. But it's a stage of development.
Okay.
Is there any trend in terms of the online going from people initially paying with cash, and after there's a trust period, you've done a certain amount of transactions or something with the Tiki or Lazada, that they're then willing to pay with credit cards or digital payments? So is there any trend in there?
It's when people are
think
buying
not.
the same good.
Maybe.
Much more comfortable to buy. If I bought a tin of milk powder and I'm buying another tin of milk powder 2 weeks later, that's okay. Or if I'm buying a book, that's okay. If it's when it's something new, I'm much more likely, like a fashion item or a cosmetic item, I'm much more likely to pay by cash just in case I don't like it when it arrives.
So is the trust or non-trust related to the platform or the individual product and brand?
It's actually it's related to the consumer reducing their own risk. It's really
So basically it's nothing that's been measured.
Well, no, it's the consumer risk reduction. So it's not different between Tiki or Lazada or Shopee. It's a consumer risk reduction strategy and the evolution of those payment methods where not everybody has an e-wallet. We'll talk about that in the
right.
next session.
Right.
Not everybody has the ability to pay on a credit card.
Yes.
So there's also the development of that. So there is quite a large momentum, but as you can still, cash will dominate for quite some time.
Sure. Yes.
You've highlighted this morning you've highlighted two distribution systems, both modern trade, convenience, and digital, that don't have profit models and are funded by investors or private equity or parent companies. And particularly this one, where you mentioned that transaction volume sizes need to increase, and you can see how that will over maybe make money. But where is the driver for that when the growth is primarily that I see in food, and food is by itself really not extremely cheap. So, and just a small anecdote, I was with the CEO of a delivery company recently, and he was very proud to deliver a 50,000 iced coffee in 12 minutes, and he timed it at no cost. So, where's the driver for the volume growth?
The driver has to be in if you go back to Zhang's first chart and the number of items there, food and beverage is helping people get familiar, confident, building trust, but the driver has to be in those higher value ticket items. I mean, it has to be when a consumer's happy to say, I'm not going to go down and win Kim, I'm going to order online. And that's got a way to go. But yeah.
Do you see any foreseeable movement in that space?
It's starting. It's starting for sure, yeah. I mean, it's certainly changed, but it's going to be a while. But it's starting to change. So those value transactions, those basket sizes beyond food and beverage for immediate consumption is where the driver will be. But you've got to thank food and beverage and those delivery guys for reassuring the consumer base. Yeah.
Can you comment on what the government is doing or not doing to help support the whole online shopping? Because they're a big part of creating that trust, creating the safety, and putting in place the checks and balances. Do you have any comments on the government's position or initiatives of the government?
I'm not aware. They have policies to promote electronic payment, but I'm not sure about execution, but there's certainly statements and policies to promote it, and programs that suggest we'll hit this. I mean, the programs they have seem very unrealistic to me. But I'm not sure what they're really doing to support an online shopping environment. If anything, they're more looking at the tax evasion going on through the Facebook sort of social platforms and the independent retailers on those platforms.